4 years, David and Louise Turpin subjected their 13 children to abuse until one daughter managed to escape and alert the authorities in January 2018. The upbringing of David and Louise Turpin's 13 children was characterized by severe control and abuse, leading the media to label their Perris, California residence a house of horrors. This label, initially perceived as exaggerated, proved tragically accurate as the Turpin children were seldom seen outside by neighbors, who noticed their pallid complexion when they did venture out. Welcome to Crime Scene Archives. In today's video, we're delving into one of the most shocking cases in recent memory, the Turpin family tragedy. But before we dive into the details, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more gripping true crime content. Now, let's uncover the chilling truth. Warning: this video contains graphic content related to crime scenes. It is intended for educational purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. The Turpin children were kept isolated from the outside world and confined within their home for an extended period. For several of the 13 Turpin children, this endured for decades, resulting in some of them being completely unfamiliar with concepts like medicine or law enforcement upon their eventual release from confinement. The Turpin children were rescued in a state of severe malnourishment, with one of them, despite being the eldest at 29 years old, appearing so emaciated that authorities initially mistook her for a much younger individual, weighing only 82 pounds due to stunted growth. The condition of the Turpin family home was appalling, with feces littering the carpets as a result of the children being denied access to the bathroom. Additionally, the children were frequently restrained by chains or ties to their beds, subjected to a regimen of only one meal a day, and permitted just one shower annually. It was perhaps inevitable that one of the Turpin children would eventually seek help. In January 2018, their 17-year-old daughter took the courageous step of escaping through a window and contacting 911, pleading for assistance for herself and her siblings. She recounted to the authorities how her siblings would cry at night, prompting her to seek aid. This harrowing event marked the beginning of the end of the Turpin family's disturbing saga, capturing the nation's attention. The road to recovery, both mentally and physically, will be arduous for the 13 Turpin children, while their parents face the likelihood of spending the rest of their lives behind bars. Exploring Louise Turpin's own past may offer some insight into the shocking individual she became towards her own children. Louise Turpin's journey to her current predicament is rooted in a traumatic and troubled childhood of her own. According to Louise's sister, Teresa Robinette, their mother Phyllis subjected them to a horrific ordeal where they were regularly exploited and abused by a wealthy pedophile. Teresa vividly recalls the monetary transactions occurring as she endured molestation, while Louise suffered even more intensely. The scars of this abuse left deep emotional wounds and shattered their sense of self-worth. Teresa vividly recalls the traumatic experiences from her childhood. The wealthy pedophile who abused her would slip money into her hand as he molested her. His breath on her neck, accompanied by whispered pleas for silence, left lasting scars. Teresa and her sister Louise pleaded with their mother Phyllis not to take them to him, but Phyllis justified it by saying she needed to clothe and feed them. Louise suffered even more intensely, and the abuse shattered their self-worth. Despite these shared experiences, what Louise did to the Turpin family children shocked Teresa. She had always considered Louise a good girl who abstained from drinking, smoking, or doing drugs. Teresa's relationship with her nieces and nephews was minimal. She met the 4 eldest kids in person once and communicated with the rest via video chat, which dwindled over time. The idea that Louise was abusing the children never crossed their minds. Louise would make excuses, claiming she and David were too busy with their 13 kids to video chat. Despite their shared history of abuse, Louise Turpin's actions toward the Turpin family children came as a shock to Teresa. The revelation that Louise was abusing the children shattered Teresa's perception of her sister. The emotional toll of their shared past, combined with the shock of Louise's action, left Teresa grappling with a complex mix of disbelief, betrayal, and sorrow. Teresa Robinette understandably found it shocking to witness the transformation of her sister. However, their sibling Elizabeth Flores offered a lesser-priced perspective, providing insights into Louise Turpin's character that contribute to a fuller understanding of the Turpin matriarch and how she may have become capable of inflicting harm on her own children. Flores' book, Sisters of Secrets, presents disturbing allegations against Louise Turpin. It not only supports Teresa's assertions of repeated sexual abuse, but also reveals Louise's later engagement in practices such as witchcraft, gambling, a fascination with snakes, and struggles with severe alcoholism. The book paints a picture of a troubled household where Louise and Elizabeth sought refuge by covering their ears during their parents' arguments, and where Louise faced bullying during her school years. However, according to reports from the Desert Sun, it was during Louise's 40s that her behavior took a particularly dark turn. Flores recounted she was involved in excessive drinking, smoking, frequenting bars, dabbling in witchcraft, gambling, handling and consuming rattlesnakes, displaying inappropriate behavior on MySpace, engaging in various sexual practices, and the list goes on. Flores expressed genuine concern for Louise's well-being amidst these troubling behaviors. However, despite these red flags, Flores emphasized that Louise never triggered any concerns regarding child endangerment in her mind. It's important to note that Louise didn't pursue these activities alone. To this day, she remains married, adding another layer to the complexity of this disturbing narrative. To fully grasp this lifelong saga, it's imperative to delve into the world of David Turpin. The patriarch of the Turpin family, David Turpin, had a promising start in life and career, as reported by the Collegiate Times. A graduate of Virginia Tech University in computer engineering, he went on to work for prominent defense contractors like Lockheed Martin and General Dynamics before retiring in 2012. Growing up in Mercer County, West Virginia, just 40 miles outside Blacksburg, David's achievements were noteworthy. Attending the same high school as his future wife, despite an 8-year age gap, David was active in various clubs, including the Bible Club, Chess Club, Science Club, and the a cappella choir, as documented in the school's 1979 yearbook. Described as a diligent and engaged teenager, acquaintances from his youth such as Mike Gilbert recalled him as somewhat nerdy and inclined towards staying at home. According to James and Betty Turpin, their son pursued a career in computer engineering after completing his university education, as reported by ABC News. The Bugle yearbook from 1984 lists him as a senior majoring in electrical engineering and as a member of the Electrical and Computer Engineering Honor Society, Eta Kappa Nu. At the age of 24, David Turpin and his wife Louise eloped. David, then 24, and Louise, 16, embarked on this journey after David managed to persuade Louise's high school in Princeton, West Virginia, to allow him to sign her out. The couple traveled as far as Texas before being compelled to return home due to police policies complaints filed by Phyllis Robinette and her husband, Wayne. According to the Daily Mail, Louise's father, a preacher, surprisingly desired to bring her back solely to ensure a proper wedding ceremony. This led to a 1,000-mile journey across the country, culminating in David and Louise's marriage in Princeton in 1984. Teresa recalled, "My mom permitted Louise to date David clandestinely because she admired him, given his Christian upbringing, and trusted Louise. However," Teresa added, "she was dating him behind my dad's back. He was unaware of their relationship, and one day, David went to the high school, where they allowed him to sign Louise out, and they fled. He had his car, and they drove off." Teresa remembered this event as the first time she witnessed her parents taking opposite stances. Instead of expressing outrage, her father suggested to her mother that they should allow their 16-year-old daughter to pursue the life she appeared to desire. However, he was upset with his wife, so he permitted her to marry him. They returned to Princeton and had a modest church wedding, attended only by the two families. Afterward, they returned to Texas to begin their life together. In 2012, when Louise's father expressed a desire to visit her after retiring, Louise discouraged him from doing so. It was evident that a significant and enduring divide existed between Louise and her parents, likely stemming from the profound betrayal she experienced early in her life. By the time Phyllis passed away in February 2016, followed by her father's death 3 months later, David and Louise Turpin had already been residing in Perris, California for many years. Both parents on their deathbeds requested Louise's presence. Teresa recounted, but she declined, neither showing up to bid them farewell nor attending their funerals. David Turpin, however, did attend both ceremonies. Despite David's considerable academic and professional achievements, his role as a husband took a downward turn. In 2011, a bankruptcy filing totaling $240,000 in credit card debt shed light on financial struggles, suggesting possible mismanagement, limited professional opportunities, or a growing disconnection from reality. In light of the distressing revelations about their household, all these factors may have contributed to the decline. The bankruptcy documents detailed his earnings as an engineer at Northrop Grumman, a prestigious defense corporation, at $140,000 annually. Additionally, he was identified as the principal of the Sandcastle Day School, which he operated from their home to educate their 13 children. Meanwhile, his wife was designated as a homemaker, with their Perris home and its dual function as a school serving as the central hub for her educational duties to their 13 children. This distressing lifestyle persisted for years, until one winter day in January of 2018, when their 17-year-old daughter finally revealed the truth. David and Louise Turpin entered guilty pleas to 14 felony charges on February 22, 2019, aiming to avoid a trial, as reported by the Los Angeles Times. These charges include 1 count of torture, 4 counts of false imprisonment, 6 counts of cruelty to adult dependents, and 3 counts of willful child cruelty. Their sentencing, scheduled for April 25, was a move to spare their children from testifying in court, despite the ordeal it might have posed being comparatively minor compared to the horrors they endured at the hands of their parents. Prosecutors highlighted the extensive trauma inflicted on the Turpin children, noting that their cognitive impairment and nerve damage would likely have lasting effects. Riverside County District Attorney Mike Hestrin commented, "This is among the worst, most aggravated child abuse cases that I've ever seen or been involved in my career as a prosecutor." He emphasized that the decision to agree to the plea deal and sentencing was partly driven by the desire to shield the victims from the additional trauma of testifying in court. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of the Turpin family case. We hope you found it enlightening. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Crime Scene Archives for more gripping true crime content. And don't forget, we also have a previous video covering the chilling story of Amelia Dyer, a notorious figure who similarly placed children under her care in dire situations. Be sure to check it out for more shocking insights into the darker side of history. Remember to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Until next time, stay safe, stay informed, and stay curious.